my friends, welcome to class. So I was happily surprised to see that the highest votes for the poll this week were yoga for sciatica. So that's what we're going to do. It's going to be a yin class, so set up with your props. I've got a bolster, 2 blocks, a blanket. If you don't have a bolster, I think that that's fine. I don't think that you necessarily need one for today, but if you want to grab like a pillow, any kind of pillow from your couch or from your bed, will work just fine. But I think blankets could substitute for a bolster as well for what we've got for today. So yeah, if you suffer from sciatica, or if you just want a really good hip focused sequence or lower body focused sequence, then this should be nice for you. So we're going to get started on our backs. I'm just going to set my blocks and bolster to the side for now. And I'm going to take my blanket and lay that at the top of my mat in a pretty solid layer, decently thick layer. So it will support your upper back, your shoulders, your head, and your neck. And we'll start just in a constructive rest position. So bring your knees towards one another and your feet towards the outer edges of your mat. And hopefully that feels like it creates a nice little sense of space across your low back. Maybe you feel a little bit of release. And just take a few deep breaths here to start to get settled into your body. And start to drop out of your thinking mind for a little bit. With every breath in, feel your belly, your heart expand. And every exhale, a sense of surrendering into the mat. And just allowing yourself to be here. Nothing more complicated than that. And with these next couple of breaths, you can use this kind of opening space to set an intention for your practice, if you like. Maybe that's just to relieve some pain or just to spend a little time with yourself. And if no intention comes to you, don't feel the need to force anything. You can practice with kind of a sense of openness, no particular intention, just here for whatever shows up. And take one more long breath in through your nose. And full long breath out. And next breath in, start to gather your knees in towards you, drawing them in towards your belly and towards your chest. And your knees don't have to come all the way together. You can let there be a little bit of space and openness between the knees. And start to find some gentle movement. A little sway side to side. Or maybe you take your knees out in some circles, drawing circles on the ceiling. And if you have, little assistance, whether they have 4 legs or 2 legs, just kind of let them be a part of your practice as much as you can be. A few more rounds of movement, a few more breaths. And start to let your feet come back down, your legs stretch all the way out on the mat, take up lots of space, get long. And take your arms overhead, reaching opposite hand for opposite elbow. I'm going to move into Banana Asana, starting with the left side. So taking your feet over towards the left edge of your mat. Doing the same with your shoulders. If you find that you need a little more support underneath your upper body, feel free to fold your blanket up a little more. Take a second to adjust here. And if you want, you can cross one of your ankles on top of the other. Notice where you feel sensation. This can be a subtle posture, but depending on, your unique body, you may feel lots of sensation right away. And it also just depends on, the day you're having and the days you've been having. What has led up to this moment? What kind of movement or stillness have you had going on? Your body is always taking all of that into account. So do your best to just meet yourself right where you are. Lots of compassion, no judgment. Drawing awareness into the sensations is just so that we can, make those kind of loving adjustments for ourselves, where we can find a little bit more ease, where we can find the best kind of sensation. And whatever that looks like on each individual day. Allow yourself to soften a little bit more. And just a couple more breaths on this side. And go ahead and start to walk your hands and shoulders back to center. And take a few breaths in and out here. Noticing any differences side to side in your body. And then as you feel ready, taking this over to the right. Drawing your feet over to the right edge of your mat. Shoulders over to the right side, at the top of your mat. And if you want, on this side as well, you can cross one ankle on top of the other. It doesn't matter which one, so it could be outside over inside, inside over out. You might try both on for size, see how that feels. And if you want to make any adjustments in your arms, for instance, if you don't want to have this clasp, your arms could be kind of open out to the side. Elbows can have a soft bend, or you can keep your arms a little straighter, really long stretch through your upper body here. And you can have this clasp in your hands or not. It all just depends on you, what you need. Notice if you can find a gentle stretch through the left side of your neck here, letting your right ear, right side of your head really just be soft towards that kind of cradle of your right shoulder, right elbow. continue to breathe here a little bit longer. And begin to draw yourself back to center. 1 inch, maybe even 1 centimeter at a time. Really take your time. Noticing again side to side if you feel a little more balanced out, or if you feel any differences side to side still. And then allow yourself to explore some gentle movement once again. Maybe that's pulling the knees in towards your chest, finding those gentle circles. Or maybe you want to keep your feet planted and take some windshield wipers, just letting your knees drop side to side. These circles are feeling pretty nice to me today. Nice little bonus for your low back. And finally, if it feels good, give yourself a squeeze, pull your knees in, feel a nice little sense of compression across your low back, pressing into the earth. Big full breaths. And then just allow yourself to roll right onto your belly. I'm going to take some time to rearrange my mat, so if you want to do the same, feel free. I'm going to spread my blanket out so that it is right underneath my belly, underneath my pelvis, and so that it also takes up a little bit of space outside of the mat. And come to lay all the way down on your belly. Come down flat. If you have your bolster, you might like to bring it onto the side of your body, kind of right in line with your hip. And we're moving into half frog. We'll start with the right side. Right knee up in line with your right hip. Gentle 90-degree angles here. The support of the bolster, or maybe a rolled up blanket underneath you, is totally optional. Maybe it feels good to you, maybe it doesn't. To me, it just depends on the day. Some days it feels great, some days I'd prefer not to have it. So I'm just starting out with it today to see how it feels. Allow yourself today to come back down to rest on your belly, on your chest. You could bring any additional supports you have underneath your chest and your head to rest on, or you can rest on your palms. And one more option set up, make yourself maybe a little bit more comfortable. Tuck your left toes, and just kind of scoot your left hip, left leg about an inch or so further away, giving yourself a little bit more space. And then settle in. Allow your entire body to be really heavy here, especially your hips, feeling really grounded, totally supported by everything underneath you, holding you up. And gently start to lift back up to your chest. And straighten your right leg back out behind you. And you can be up on your forearms in kind of like a sphinx position. And take your knees side to side behind you, little windshield wipers. And take your neck side to side as well. And in that little stretch. You could also have your chest and head resting flat on the earth while you take this gentle movement in your knees, releasing any lingering tension in your low back. And finally, allow your legs to straighten back out behind you. Now scoot a little over to the right to create some space. Half frog on your left side. And take your bolster with you if you have it, if you want it. Maybe try it without it, see how it feels. And either way, draw your left knee up in line with your left hip. You can tuck your right toes, kind of hop your right hip an inch or so away. Maybe not that far. See what feels best to you. See what kind of openness feels right in your hips today. And then I'm going to invite you again to come back down and just rest on your chest, your belly. Any additional supports underneath you would be lovely here. Like if I had an extra blanket on hand to put underneath my face, that would be great. So just some ideas if you happen to have those handy. And feel free if you rested on one cheek on the other side, maybe turn the opposite side this time and balance out a little stretch in your neck. Keeping it real gentle, real subtle. And gentle reminder again to allow yourself to be really heavy, just supported by your props, by your mat, by the floor underneath you. And start to gently lift back up through your chest. And move as slow as you need. Maybe even move slower than you want to. Start to straighten your left leg along behind you. And you can once again keep your arms in kind of a sphinx position, so forearms down, elbows underneath your shoulders, and take your legs side to side, gentle windshield wipers, just bending at the knees. Let gravity do all the work, no forcing. And you can again find some little rolls through your neck, little stretches side to side. That feels good. Just enjoying that little bit of movement after settling in. Always finding the balance even when stillness is our focus. And start to press yourself up and back into tabletop position. So you can keep your blanket where it is, be a nice little support for the knees. I'm going to take my bolster out to the side for now, bring it back into play in a second. You make your way into tabletop, start to find some gentle cow and cat. Cow pose, drop your belly, open your heart, gaze lifts. And cat pose, nice and slow, really round through your spine. Each part of your spine, dome through your upper back, round the middle back, low back, tailbone tucks. And inhale back through cow pose. Unfurling, opening. And cat pose, pressing away, rounding in, closing off. And find a few more rounds here. Move at your own pace. Connect to your own breath. One more round. Full breath in. Big breath out. Make your way back through a neutral spine. I'm going to come back onto my heels for a second just so that I can kind of get my props set up. So we are moving into lizard lunge. I'm going to offer a setup with bolster and blocks today. Well, I'll offer two setups. I'll go through the one without the bolster first, because I think that is one that maybe more people might not have access to. So from your tabletop, I'm going to go ahead and bring blocks underneath my hands. Books would work perfect here as well. And open your right knee out to the side, like a dog at a fire hydrant. Nice little 90-degree angle again. And then big circle forward step. Right foot right outside your right hand. Tuck your left toes. Scoot your back knee back a little bit. Allow your left hip to soften towards the earth. You can adjust the height on your blocks or your books as well. Bring them up a little higher, adjust them to a place that feels good. Really roll your shoulders back, pull your heart forward. If it feels good, you can roll onto the blade edge of your foot, turning the sole of your foot up towards you, drawing more attention in towards inner thigh, groin muscle. You can also take this high lizard. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. A little more active, but still supported, especially if you've got some blocks underneath you. And I'm going to shift into variation using the bolster. So if you are happy, comfortable where you are with your blocks, or just on your fingertips maybe as well. Feel free, hang out where you're at. I'm going to set up my blocks in kind of a T shape. So middle register, highest register. Lay my bolster against that in a little ramp. Set your foot back up where it was. Allow your left hip to soften in towards the bolster, in towards that first block, and adjust your blocks however you need. Allow your hands to come down on either side of the block inside your right foot. And you can allow yourself to soften as much as feels good. Really lean into this, kind of get low the inside of your right thigh. Or you can keep your chest lifted. Totally up to you. Again, if you are setting up here with your bolster, you can explore rolling a bit onto the blade edge of your foot. It may feel nice to gently press into your right knee with your right hand. And again, if you want, you could tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. High lizard can feel really nice here with this bolster and block setup underneath you. You're taking all the pressure off your knee, but it doesn't take quite as much effort and engagement because your left side is being supported. Wherever you are, we're here for just a little while longer, just a few more breaths. Continue to allow your hips to get heavy, to soften. And you're here for 2 more breaths. And after your second exhale, start to make your way back towards the tabletop position. But take your right leg all the way out long behind you. Come onto your right toes and shift back and forth a few times. Rolling all the way forward onto your tiptoes and really pressing back through your heel, flexing your foot. Stretching out your calf muscle. And come back to center. Back through neutral. I'm going to move right into the opposite side. So feel free to set your props up how you like them. Kind of have an idea of where we're going now. We'll start back in that tabletop position. I'm kind of going to arrange myself around my props. Open left knee out to the side. Target a fire hydrant. Just feeling that kind of 90-degree angle shape through your hip again. And then big circle forward. Left foot outside your left hand. Scoot your right knee back. And notice I have a tendency to always kind of miss my props by like an inch or so. So don't be shy to like rearrange your props if you need to. adjust them to wherever your body lands. Sometimes I think I know where things are going, and that's not where they go. So just pay attention and give yourself what you need. That's kind of the whole point of what we're doing here. Paying attention, giving ourselves what we need. Allowing right hip to soften in towards your props. You can explore again, rolling onto blade edge of your left foot on this side. If it feels good, gentle press of your left knee away from your face, away from your chest. Allowing yourself to rebound a little from that. If that high lizard feels good here, you can tuck the back toes, lift back knee. Really allow the props to do their work here to keep you supported. If it ever feels like you're putting too much pressure in your wrists here, you can try making fists for wrists. Don't recommend this on the floor. If your fists are on your mat or on some other support, then it should feel all right. We're hanging out here for a little while longer. Check in with your hips. Try to angle them a little more towards the top of your mat. Breathing through it, all the sensation. If you're on the blade edge of your foot, you are probably feeling this deep in the inside of your left thigh. You're here for just a few more breaths. Begin to slowly shift your way out of the pose, moving back towards a tabletop position. I'm going to go ahead and set my props out to the side this time. And from your tabletop, stretch your left leg out long behind you to get a little counterbalance. Press back through your left foot. Roll forward onto your tiptoes. Find a few rounds like that. Finding a little stretch, a little release through your calf muscle. And back to tabletop. If it feels good in your body, you are welcome to come into a quick downward facing dog. Might feel nice to transition from this point as well, but it is not necessary. I'll go through different transition point as well. If a big stretch like down dog feels good in your body, feel free to take it here. And then actually come back down to your knees. We'll all transition in a more simple way together. We're just coming, well actually, had like 3 ideas come together at once. I'm just going to make our way onto your bottom to start. I'm going to face the long edge of your mat. Let your left leg stretch out towards the back of your mat. Or, sorry, right leg stretch out towards the back edge of your mat. Left leg stretch out kind of right in front of you. And start to twist, angle your torso back towards the top of your mat so that you start to roll onto the inside, onto the top of your right leg. And bring yourself into kind of Sphinx pose, down to your forearms. You could also bring a bolster or your blocks. Blocks would work here as well. A little support. If you don't have a bolster, but if you have blocks, you can use them to have a little height. Allow yourself to fold into this as much as feels good. And go ahead and start to gently lift yourself all the way back up. And we'll take that into the opposite side. Shift your blocks or bolster around with you. Left leg towards the back of your mat. Right leg just kind of right out in front of you. Sit up nice and tall. And then start to twist over your right leg, bringing yourself towards the back of your mat. And coming into that Sphinx-like pose in your forearms again, allowing your left leg this time to just adjust, roll onto the inside. And then come down to your forearms. Notice any differences you feel side to side. I won't be here too much longer. And press yourself back up. And we'll make our way all the way down to your backs. Set your blocks out to the side. Your blanket can stay where it is, or maybe you might want to use it to put it like underneath your head for the end of class, or on top of your hips. It's nice and grounding. Use it however you'd like. I'm going to keep mine where it is, a little low back support. I'm coming to lie down on your back. I'm move into a twist called Twisted Root. Across left leg, left knee on top of your right. And twist your legs up together like eagle legs, so twisting left foot behind your right ankle, right heel. And pulling your knees in towards you a little bit, letting your arms be heavy to the sides. Let your knees drop over to the right. Happy accident, my blocks are right here, so that my knees kind of landed on them. It's actually really nice support, so if you are uncomfortable with there being space between your knees and the earth when you roll into a twist, then you can always bring blocks or your bolster or anything else, any other support underneath your knees or underneath your feet, where mine actually went. If this twist in your knees does not feel great, I'll offer a different variation. We'll start back at center, both knees in towards you, and then allow yourself to roll to the right side, keeping your shoulders heavy still, and allow your knees to be a little further up towards your chest. So all the variations are perfect. Be here just a few more breaths, whichever one you landed in. And draw yourself back to center. Yogi's choice, you can take twisted root, crossing your right knee on top of your left, getting your legs twisted, and let your knees drop to the left. Arms heavy, shoulders heavy. Again, if that doesn't feel like that's what your body wants or needs, feel free to shift into a different kind of twist. Letting both knees drop over, maybe a supine twist if that suits you. Just let everything be heavy. Deep breaths. Sense of steadiness, sense of calm. And throw it all back to center. Unwind if you're twisted up. I am going to move my blanket. I'm just going to take it into an extra kind of pillow shape, because I'm also going to bring my bolster underneath my back body. If you don't have a bolster, you could roll your whole blanket up into a burrito shape and use that lengthwise underneath your body instead. You might also skip having something underneath your body entirely and have your bolster or blanket rolled up underneath your knees. It's nice support for your low back. I'm going to come down into a Supta Baddha Konasana, allowing it to be really supported. I'm going to take blocks underneath my knees, so soles of your feet together, knees open, and this subtle little heart opening with blanket or bolster, maybe even just pillows underneath you. Allow your hands to rest wherever feels most natural, and this is where we will drift off into our Shavasana. So if there are any other little wiggles or shakes or movements or anything like that that you need to kind of work out before you settle in for your final rest, then by all means feel free to take some time to do that. And when you're ready, we'll just be right here. All you have to do is be here and breathe. Allowing yourself to completely drop out now of the world of thinking and doing. Completely embrace the flip side. Being, sensation, your intuition, your body's innate wisdom. Now guide us back to this place when it's time. Begin to deepen and lengthen your breath. Really full, expansive inhales. Feeling the air travel all the way from deep down in your belly, up through your torso, your rib cage, and filling up your chest, your lungs, your heart space, collarbones spread apart. And on the exhale, the reverse, the chest concaves, ribs come back together, low belly pulls in. Let's take a few more rounds like that. Full breath in, start low in your belly. Expand through the mid-body. Chest, collarbones. And reverse on your exhale. Everything folds in bit by bit, top to bottom. And just one more round like that. Big, full, expansive inhale. Feel through your belly, torso, tip tops of your lungs. And full exhale. Allow it to move slowly. Full body release. And allow your knees to fold in together. And draw them in towards you. Give yourself a squeeze. Maybe allow your head and neck to gently rock side to side and find that same kind of gentle sway through your knees, through your hips. And you can either rock and roll or just kind of plant your feet and press yourself up off of your props back up into a comfortable seat. We'll all meet there together. Sit up nice and tall, shoulders a roll. Next breath in, arms out wide to the sides, up overhead, palms together, and all the way down to your heart. One more breath in, acknowledgement, gratitude for yourself and for the practice. And thumbs up to the center of your forehead. I bow my head with the deepest gratitude for each and every one of you. Thank you so much for sharing your practice. And please remember that inside of your space and outside of your space, you are always seen, heard, and loved. Thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope that you're able to find a little bit of relief. Nothing is a miracle cure or anything, but hopefully you can find a little bit of peace of mind, peace of body. Let me know what you would like to see next. If you have any questions about this particular sequence or anything else that we've got going on, just let me know and I will see you soon. Thank you for being here.